And a very good Friday morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Joe Benigno back with you again, the Old the Pain podcast. Friday, November 1st. How about that? 2024. The Joe Benigno the Pain podcast brought to you by the Hackensack Brewing Company, by the Need a Discount Tire, by Manscaped, and cardwinners.net. Well, hallelujah. Our New York Jets won a football game last night. They beat the, to me, extremely overrated Houston Texans. I know they were banged up at wide receiver. 21-13, the final score of this game. A game that, if you saw the first half of this football game, you would have said there was no way the Jets were winning this game. They were losing 7-0 at halftime. But more importantly, just the continuation of brutal mistakes. We saw number 19, Charles, Isaiah Charles, I believe is his name on special teams, have a roughing the kicker penalty that gave the Texans a first down. And then the play that, I thought was going to define this game last night. And thankfully, for the efforts of Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, it didn't. But the play with a rookie, Malachi Corley, on a beautiful call by Todd Downing on a flip reverse, goes what looks like 20, 25 yards for a touchdown. Easy touchdown. Except one problem. Corley doesn't cross the goal line with the damn football. He he drops the ball at about the 1.5 yard line. It turns into, instead of a jet touchdown, a walk-in touchdown, it turns into a touchback, and Houston gets the football. Are you freaking kidding me? And I thought that play to me, I'm thinking to myself, boy, we're going to hear about this play forever. This is going to be, another Mark Gastineau roughing the passer in the playoff game against Cleveland, almost 40 years ago now, or the butt fumble by Mark Sanchez against New England on that Thanksgiving night. I thought we were going to look at this play, the spike play with the fake spike by Marino in '94. We were going to look at this Corley play in the same light as that. But fortunately, that was not the case. The Jets trailed 7-0 at halftime. The only touchdown drive, a 98-yard touchdown drive by Houston after Thomas Morstead, who in the first half of this game was the best player on the field for the Jets, kicked a 75-yard punt that gets downed on the 2-yard line. But then Houston, like I said, goes 98 yards for a touchdown, mostly by Joe Mixon running the football, and they lead 7-0 at halftime. But the Jets get the opening kickoff and go right down the field. A tremendous, just a great play. First of all, they hit this big fourth down play to Davante Adams, who gets hurt on the play. 4th and 2, they go for it. They get the first down. Adams goes out of the game into the concussion protocol, and of course eventually comes back into the game again and catches the touchdown pass that kind of seals the win. But the first of the 2 one-handed touchdown receptions from Garrett Wilson that ties the game. Nice throw by Rodgers. I don't know how Wilson even saw the ball because the defensive back from Houston is kind of right in front of him. But he makes the catch, goes in for the touchdown, ties the game at 7-7. Houston gets a field goal to go ahead 10-7 in the game. And then comes the play of the year, really. We all remember the great catch by Odell Beckham, 10 years ago against Dallas when he was a rookie for the Giants. We all remember that one-handed, unbelievable catch. Garrett Wilson last night makes, if it wasn't as good a catch as Beckham, it's right there. An unbelievable circus one-handed catch on 3rd down, going up in the air, comes down. They initially rule it incomplete pass. It's ruled incomplete. Ulbrich challenges the play, and we see when we look at the replay 5 times, you see that Wilson's shin comes down in bounds. One shin equals 2 feet, and they overturn the call. Touchdown Jets. They take a 14-10 lead that they would not relinquish. It was a tremendous game for Garrett Wilson. 9 catches, 90 yards, and the 2 touchdowns. He has been, you start to look at the production that we have seen over the last 4 or 5 weeks, as bad as it's been with that hideous 5-game losing streak. Wilson has really started to, get in tune with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think there's any question about it. But just 2 tremendous catches, and we will long remember the second touchdown catch that put the Jets ahead in this game, 14-10. You'll be seeing it all the time. You'll be seeing the catch by Beckham 10 years ago, and you'll be seeing the catch by Garrett Wilson last night. Just incredible. Put the Jets up 14-10. And the Jets last night defensively, how about the now, I understand they gave up that 98-yard drive, and obviously, the running game, Mixon killed them. The Texans rushed for almost 200 yards in this game last night, like 187 yards. A lot of it as well by the quarterback, C.J. Stroud, getting out of the pocket and, doing some damage with his legs, running the football. There was one on the last drive of the game where Houston, in desperation mode, down 21-10, Stroud ran for like 30 yards on, I think it was a fourth down. It was either 3rd and 2 or 4th and 2. Ran for like 30 yards, to keep Houston somewhat alive in the game. And this is something that the Jet defense is going to have to address, because 10 days from now, when they play Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals out in Arizona, Kyler Murray will kill the Jets if they don't have somebody spying on him and, somebody, allowing him to get out of the pocket and make plays with his legs. C.J. Stroud's a guy that really doesn't run the ball much. That's not the case with Kyler Murray. So that's something the Jet defense is going to have to shore up. But, 8 sacks last night by the Jet defense? 8. The Houston offensive line is terrible. And how about Will McDonald? He abused Laramie Tunsil last night. He went around him a few times, had a couple sacks in the game. You saw Hassan Reddick make his presence felt. Quinnen Williams had a phenomenal game. Quinnen Williams the last 2 weeks, last week against New England, yesterday against Houston, had monster games. I mean, really did. Just has been a major force in the middle of that defensive line, creating havoc. I think he had 2 sacks in the game last night. It's funny. After they lost the game against Pittsburgh, I called out Quinnen Williams. I said, "What? He's turning into Muhammad Wilkerson, right?" They paid him the big money, and then he basically goes into the tank. Ever since I called him out, maybe he heard me, because Quinnen Williams has been dominant ever since. He was tremendous in New England and tremendous again last night, leading the way as the Jets, as I said, assaulted C.J. Stroud with 8 sacks in this game. Even Michael Clemens got a sack in this game. And I want to – and that was a big moment in the game. And if you didn't see it, the Jets are up 14-10. It's a 3rd down play. Michael Clemens, of all people, who's really been brutal, sacks C.J. Stroud, and it forces the Texans to try a long, like 40-something yard field goal. So Kai Fairburn, however you say his name, comes in and makes the kick. As I cough up a lung, it's from yelling at my football team last night as I pull out my Jet gloves. You see my Jet gloves I have? Okay. Excuse me while I cough up a lung. It doesn't look good, but don't look. Anyway, Fairburn comes out, makes the field goal, 14-13. But wait, there's a penalty on the Jets. Kicking, what was the call again? Something about kicking the center on the long snapper on the field goal attempt. And I forget the guy. Was it Watts? Number 58, this guy Watts. And there's a lot of guys now on his team. I don't even know who the hell they are. But, anyway, number 58, Watts. And they call him for a personal foul, roughing the center on the snap of the field goal. So, of course, 15 yards, Houston takes the first down. They take the points off the board. They take the first down. So what happens? They drive again, and the Jets defense stops them again. So Fairburn comes on again to try maybe a 30-yard field goal, or, a chip shot type field goal, and he hits the left upright and misses. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is the kind of night it was for the Jets, that they win a game, right, when you get that kind of situation happening, which usually always goes against the Jets, right? They make that stupid penalty 9 times out of 10 with this football team. It comes back and burns them, and Houston winds up scoring a touchdown. That doesn't happen. Not only don't they get the touchdown, but they missed a chip shot field goal after they already had the field goal, and they took the points off the board. That kind of stuff doesn't happen to the Jets. Winning a game where Corley drops the ball on a sure walk-in touchdown on a 2-yard line, right? And the Jets win that game? That doesn't happen to the Jets. So maybe the karma for them has changed a little last night. I don't know. But it kept the game at 14-10, and then eventually the Jets had the final game-winning drive on about a 3rd down and 3. You saw Aaron Rodgers hit Devontae Adams for the touchdown, puts him ahead 21-10. Adams had a big game last night for the Jets, 7 catches. I think it was 7 catches, 91 yards, and the touchdown. Adams last night and Garrett Wilson combined for 16 catches, 185 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the game last night. And if you're going to get that kind of production from those two guys, remember Lazard was out again last night. If you're going to get that kind of production from those two guys, I mean, that's pretty damn good. That's a pretty damn good, combination at wide receiver. I'll even say this. I mean, Wilson and Adams as the combination of wide receiver is as good as anybody in the NFL has. I mean, let's be honest about it. It's right up there with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Whatever combo, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, whatever combo you want to give me, those two guys, Wilson and Adams, are as good as anybody as a combo. So the Jets win the game 21-13. They get that late field goal as they were trying to drive. They got the field goal, and then they tried the onside kick. And of course, it was Davante Adams who recovered the onside kick. But solid win last night. Rodgers had a good – after starting out bad, Rodgers didn't start the game too well. Look at the first series of this game last night. First play of the game, Rodgers had Davante Adams wide open down the sideline and missed him badly, not even close. The second down play was a pass to Breece Hall over the middle that he drops, and then on third down, Rodgers gets sacked. That's how the game started last night. And Rodgers didn't look good. I mean, he missed some throws early in the game, but the second half, they were just a completely different team. And I don't know what Ulbrich said to his team at halftime. Apparently, a lot of different guys were talking in the locker room at halftime. But everything turned around with this offense. They were able to run the ball a lot better. Breece Hall had some solid runs in the second half. You saw Jalen Allen get a couple nice runs as well. Punched one in on a fourth down for a first down. Might have been a third down. I think actually it was a third down one. The 2 fourth downs that they hit was the one to Adams down the sideline when he went out of the game for the concussion protocol for a little bit. And then they converted another fourth down on a really kind of questionable defensive holding on the one of the guys in the Houston secondary that kept the Jets drive alive, and they eventually scored the touchdown. That was actually the drive where Garrett Wilson made the acrobatic, unbelievable catch to give the Jets a 14-10 lead. So good win for them last night. Got to be happy with it. I don't know how else you say it, but we'll take it. And like I said, the defense played solid. 8 sacks in the game last night. Even DJ Reed had a sack. Got to say this, though, and I've been really down. I wore the Sauce Gardner jersey last night to try to get the karma to change for Sauce Gardner. Now, it worked out that the Jets won the game. Gardner did not play well again. In fact, there was one play where it was the tight end Schultz. They throw a swing pass. Stroud throws a little swing pass out to Schultz, and it should have been about a 2 or 3 yard loss. Quincy Williams is there to make a play, and Sauce comes up and tries one of these, arm tackles, like lowering his head arm tackles to make the tackle on Schultz. And he misses the tackle. Schultz runs over him and winds up getting like an 8 or 9 yard gain on what should have been probably a 3 or 4 yard loss. And I guess Ulbrich made a comment about Sauce after the game about that he's got to make that play. He's got to make that tackle. Sauce Gardner is not having a good year. He had a defensive holding call or a pass interference call again later in the game to keep I guess it was on the final drive of the game by Houston, to keep that drive alive. He has not played well. He made a couple plays, knocked a couple passes down and stuff, but I guess his coverage was okay. But he's just not. He never gets an interception. He got beat like a drum last week in that brutal loss to New England by Shakir Boutte, whoever that guy was. And he just has not played well. He's not tackling well. He never gets an interception. And the Jets did force a turnover last night. It really was kind of inconsequential in the game. Quinnen Williams in the first half hit Stroud, knocked the ball out, and Will McDonald, about another pretty solid game with a couple sacks, recovered the fumble. So the Jets actually did force a turnover last night, and as I said, it was pretty inconsequential in the game. And the Jets did not turn the ball over themselves, and that's always a good sign when that doesn't happen. So as far as the kicking game last night, they put Zerline on injured reserve. I don't know, something with his knee. Who knows? But to me, it's probably just a bogus injury. And, they put him on IR, so, they're not going to just cut him when they owe him, I think, this year and next year, They just signed him to that contract after last year. So that's probably the reason they just didn't let him go. And they put him on IR. This guy Patterson kicked last night for the Jets, made all 3 of his extra points. There was no field goal attempts by Patterson. Made all 3 of his extra points. The first extra point was another one of these doink jobs that hit the upright but actually went through. And maybe that settled him down after that, because the 2 extra points he made after that were clean right down the middle. So, you know, at least the kicking game didn't hurt him last night. And as I said, in the first half, I thought Thomas Morstad, who probably to me is as good a punter as there is in the NFL, had a tremendous game. There was even one punt by Morstad, and you kind of forget this, but it was early in the game. The Jets were stopped. Rodgers gets sacked on like his own 2-yard line. Morstad's backed up against the back of the end zone and actually roots one out from the back of the end zone that lands on the other side of the 50. And I thought that was I think they started somewhere on their own 46-yard line or something like that, the Texans. That was an unbelievable punt by Morstad. I mean, you could talk about the 75-yarder he had that was down to the 2-yard line. And, of course, as we mentioned earlier, Houston goes 98 yards for a touchdown after that. Why not? But that kick by Morstad from the back of the end zone, that was just tremendous. I mean, that was a great kick. Kind of gets lost in the shuffle last night. But really good. Look, it's good to win. And I don't want to overstate the win. All it did last night was end a 5-game losing streak. This team is still 3-6 with 8 games to go. If they're going to get back into it, they got a lot of work to do. One thing they talked about this last night on the broadcast, the Prime, Amazon Prime, whatever the hell they call it, broadcast. I guess it was Kirk Herbstreit who said it. By the way, Kirk, how many times did Kirk Herbstreit last night call Jalen Mills Chuck Clark? Am I right? Like for the first half, like at least 5 or 6 times early in the game. And I like Herbstreit. He's great with college, no doubt about it. Now they put him in the NFL too, but fine. But anyway, Herbstreit called Jalen Mills Chuck Clark like 5 times in the first half, and then finally corrected himself. Maybe Al Michaels pinched him at some point and said, "Look, you know what, Kirk? This is not Chuck Clark. He's hurt. He's on IR. This is Jalen Mills," and he finally corrected himself. So nice work there by Herbstreit. But let's not overstate the win. It's a nice win. It's good to get a victory. I don't know how good this Houston Texan team is. Remember last year, Houston came into the Meadowlands last year in MetLife and got beat badly by the Jets. The last, really good game Zach Wilson ever had as a Jet, and probably in his career. I don't know where he's going. I know he's still somewhere, probably holding a clipboard somewhere in Denver, but who knows? But anyway, C.J. Stroud did not have a good game last year at MetLife against the Jets, and he certainly did not. I think it was 11 for 30 or something like that for maybe 130 yards or something throwing the football. He was not very good last night. Got sacked 8 times. Was able to run the ball effectively a little bit, and that's something, as I mentioned, going into the game next week against Arizona with Kyler Murray, that the Jets are going to have to straighten out. I mean, that's got to be squared away because Murray will kill him running the ball. But, I don't think C.J. Stroud likes playing at MetLife. As he got beat up. Now, in fairness, no Miko Collins, no Stephon Diggs. But, what are you going to do? Too bad. That's the way the cookie crumbles. And the Jets win it 21-13. Houston, to me, is a very weak 6-3. They're in a, crummy division, the AFC South. The only competition they have is the Indianapolis Colts, who are 4-4, and Houston's already beat them twice. So, Houston's going to win that division, barring some incredible disaster that happens to them. But I don't want to get too crazy with this win. It was a nice win, but there's 8 games to go. There's a lot of work to be done. I think the thing that if you're a Jet fan, the thing that makes you, feel the best is that Rodgers played a solid game. But even more so than that you look at these 2 guys on the outside now in Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson. And as I said before, that's as good a 1-2 punch at receiver as anybody has. You throw in Alan Lazard, who missed his 2nd straight game. Hopefully Lazard will be back for the game against Arizona next week. He's got 10 days now to rest to be ready for that game. Hopefully he'll be back for that game. And, they got some guys. Mike Williams is still here. Maybe Corley now, has learned from the mistake from last night. And they kept, he played a little bit more in the game, even though I don't think there was no targets to him as far as passes thrown his way. But we'll see. if we see a little more of him. Brees Hall ran the ball well. Allen did his thing. How about the offensive line last night? Because Elijah Vera Tucker didn't play again. What a shock. This guy's hurt all the time. Now, hopefully he'll be back for the Arizona game. But also John Simpson got hurt as well. The left guard, he went out of the game. So the Jets essentially last night on the offensive line, they were playing with 4 tackles in the game. They had Tyron Smith, who played a little better last night. They had Tyron Smith at left tackle. They had Max Mitchell at left guard. And they had the rookie Fassanu playing right guard in this game. Now, Fassanu did have a big holding. Remember that play? And it was inconsequential as the game went on. The play was a 3rd down play, and Rodgers gets out of the pocket and runs for the first down. I mean, unbelievable. Down to about the 3-yard line, and they called a holding penalty on Fassanu on that to wipe out that play. Now, the Jets eventually scored anyway. Touchdown. I think that was, again, the touchdown to Wilson, the great one-handed catch with the shin coming down in bounds. But Fassanu did get that holding penalty, which looked like it was going to be a killer at the time. Jets were able to overcome it. But outside of that, I thought for a guy that never played guard in his life before, I thought he did a damn good job. And I thought for the most part, the offensive line did a pretty good job in pass protection. So the offensive line last night was basically 4 tackles and Joe Tippmann at center. And I thought Fassanu did a good job there at right guard. Hopefully Vera Tucker will be back, but this guy's hurt all the time. He'll probably come back and get hurt again. And how about this, too? Even Hassan Reddick I thought made an impact last night. He clearly did. I think they gave him a 1 sack that he got the credit for in the game, but he was definitely a factor. There was one play where he got in there, and I believe he really got to Stroud first, and then it was cleaned up for the sack by Will McDonald, who had a couple more sacks in the game. He went out for a little bit too, but he came back in the game. DJ Reed went out for a little bit. He came back in the game. I mentioned he had a sack. Even Gardner went out for a little bit. He came back in the game as well. And I mentioned, of course, Devontae Adams came back after looked like he was going to be in concussion protocol. They cleared him. And, of course, he came back and caught what turned out to be the game-sealing touchdown where he just, destroyed the defensive back on that play. I mean, just ran right by him, wide open. Rodgers put it right on him, and he basically walked in for the touchdown, and at the time made it 21-10. So we'll take the win. I don't want to get crazy. There's 8 games left to play. This team's got to continue to play like they played last night. And maybe we can do something here. But, it's only 1 win. It ended the losing streak. Maybe they should play more games on Thursday night because they're 2-0 on Thursday night so far at MetLife. And after Arizona, remember, they got another night game. They play, what is it? I think it's a Sunday. Is it a Monday night? I think it's a Sunday night game against Indianapolis after the Arizona game on the road. Indianapolis at home on a Sunday night. Now, they may flex out of that game. Who knows? We'll see how. I mean, it would be good. I mean, you'd rather see that game at 1 o'clock in the afternoon anyway. But, we'll see how that plays out. But for one night anyway, Jet fans, we get the win. We'll take it 21-13 over, to me, a very overrated Houston Texans football team. All right, Benigno, the Oda Pain podcast. Let's get the sponsors in here, the Hackensack Brewing Company. You know the deal. We'll let you know. People are asking me, when's the next live podcast going to be there? I don't know the answer to that. Got to talk to my daughter. Got to talk to Mike Jones. I'm sure they'll get that squared away at some point. But check it out. Located 10 minutes off the George Washington Bridge, less than 30 seconds off Route 4. And who needs a house out in Hackensack, as Billy Joel so eloquently once said. Is that all you get for your money? The tap room's open 4:30 to 10 Monday through Friday, 2 to 10 Saturday, 12 to 8 Sunday, 78 Johnson Avenue in Hackensack, right behind the Tombstones. See Mike Jones, see TJ, see the whole group over there, Andre and everybody. Check out my Oda Pain beer and the whole deal. We'll let you know when the next live podcast will be, the Hackensack Brewing Company. Now, you need work done on your car, you need your car inspected, anything along those lines, go see my son Johnny at Anita Discount Tire in beautiful Rivervale, New Jersey. We went to Rivervale the other day to do our early voting, and that was really good. Anyway, beautiful Rivervale, New Jersey. Check it out. It's on Westwood Avenue. You need anything done for your car. You need tires. You need your car inspected. Whatever you need, see Johnny and Ari over at Anita Discount Tire. Tell them I sent you. See Rob, who does a great job, one of their outstanding mechanics, and you can check them out and tell them I sent you Anita Discount Tire. Now, how long have I been talking to you about Manscaped? And you know how I feel about Manscaped. Now, I'm playing golf in a little while. I'll have the Manscaped underwear on so I don't have any issues with my balls hanging out when I'm playing. You know, the only balls I want hanging out when I'm playing golf is the one on the tee, you know, the golf ball. So I love the underwear, but Manscaped does it all. They take care of you from top to bottom. You all know about the bottom area with the Lawnmower Ultra 5.0 that keeps trimmed nicely down below. You know, you want to look good. You don't want to be all hairy and messy and all of that. You want to look good. And, look, I mean, and I've told you many, many times, it gives you the illusion of extra inches. And sometimes the illusion is all you need, right? If it looks bigger, well, you know what? It is bigger. So there you go. And that's how Manscaped gets the job done down below. And then you say, well, what do they do up top? Well, they got the scalp buffer now, which massages your scalp. And as well as that, and I use it every day now, the Manscaped hair shampoo and conditioner. Use it every day. I even use it as body wash. I wash my hair. See how great my hair? Oh, what a disaster. Oh, man. I don't know how my wife looks at me, It really is. I mean, sometimes I think my wife has an issue with her eyes, but nevertheless, and thank God she does. But you know what? Even more so. So anyway, even after 30 years, even more so. But nevertheless, I'm losing my train of thought. No, the scalp buffer from Manscaped. But I love the shampoo and conditioner. I use it as body wash. I smell good. My wife actually wants to touch me again. We question why, but she does. And it's great. It's great. And I mentioned the underwear. They got it all at Manscaped. They take care of you from top to bottom. Take your scalp from zero to hero with the scalp buffer. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code OTOPAIN at manscaped.com. That's 20% off free shipping with the code OTOPAIN at manscaped.com. And last and certainly not least, my good buddy Avi over at cardwinners.net. We thank him so much. Thank you, Avi, for being our sponsor. Now, if you're in the hunt for the best credit card deals, look no further than cardwinners.net. Whether you're searching for a personal credit card that suits your everyday needs, a business card to help manage your company's expenses, or a card that offers fantastic perks like airline points and cash back, we have you covered. Our site also features cards with promotional 0% APR offers and outstanding sign-up bonuses to help you get the most out of your spending. Explore my top picks on cardwinners.net and find my top picks. Don't wait. Visit cardwinners.net today and discover the best credit card deals available. Now, I'm down here, and I made a big mistake because I forgot to bring my picks. I forgot that it was Friday. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to have my wife run upstairs, get my book that says 2024, and bring the picks down. All right? You can do that, right? My wife's going to get the picks because, we got to hear. Now, last week, I went 3-2 last week. After getting at one point so far this year with my picks on the NFL, with the picks on the NFL, and now the cats are getting involved. The picks with the NFL, I was 12-20. The last 2 weeks, I went 5-0 last week. I went 3-2 this past week. So now I'm back to 500 at 20-20 with my NFL picks for the year so far. So, hopefully we'll be able to continue moving forward with the picks. As my wife now not only is she getting my information to do the picks, but she's fending off Dante and Iggy from coming downstairs. You'll all remember the moment we had with Iggy a few months ago, which was just precious. Very nice job on my wife. Here is she gets it. Let's make sure I got it here.
I hope so.
I think we do somewhere. I know I have it written down somewhere. Is this it here? Where is it? Here we go. Okay. Here we go. All right. So here we go. The NFL picks for week number 9. Is it 9 or yeah? Week 9 in the NFL. Here we go. Like I said, 3-2 last week. 20-20 for the year. I'm taking the Ravens laying 9 at home against Denver. And I know Denver's played well. They're 5-3. Sean Payton's doing a great job with them with Bo Nix at quarterback. They got a solid defense. And the Ravens last week, a bad loss on the road, divisional loss to the Cleveland Browns. The Ravens defense is a little questionable, But I think they bounce back at home in a big way. I think Lamar Jackson with a big game. Derrick Henry, 9 points is kind of a big number, but I'm taking the Ravens. So give me Baltimore laying 9 at home against Denver. That's game 1. Game 2, and I said this to my buddy JJ. I got to take Buffalo laying 6 at home against Miami. You know, they own Miami. They killed them earlier in the year in Miami, and Josh Allen, I believe, has never lost to Miami at home in Buffalo. And 6 points is not a big deal. And Buffalo's been killing everybody. I mean, outside of the game that they beat the Jets on that Monday night game, that 23-20 win where Zerline missed the 2 kicks so the Jets would have won the game. Every other game that they've won recently, they're killing it. They're killing their opponent. They blew out Seattle in Seattle last week. They're going to blow out Miami at home this week. So give me the Bills. As much as I hate them, give me the Bills laying 6 at home against Miami. That's game 2. Game 3, I'm going to the team that I think is the best team in the NFL, and that's the Detroit Lions. They put, 52 that they put on the Tennessee Titans last week. They're 6-1 on the year. I think they're the best team in the league. I mean, their offense is just unbelievable. The 2 running backs with Montgomery and Gibbs, Jared Goff. I know he plays better in the dome than he does outside, and this game's in Lambeau against a very good Packer team that's 6-2 now. I'm not sure whether Jordan Love or Malik Willis is playing for the Packers. I don't really think it matters. I like the Lions. I think the Lions, like I said, are the best team in the league. They've already beaten Minnesota in their division, and I think they're going to beat the Packers here. It's a little shaky, given with the Packers getting points at home, but I like the Lions to stay red hot, laying 3 on the road, big divisional game against Green Bay. So give me Detroit laying 3, -3 against the Packers at Lambeau. That's game 3. Game 4. Now, this team has not been playing well. They've actually, after they started out 3-0, they've actually lost 4 of their last 5 games. They're back to 500, and that's the Seattle Seahawks. But they're getting 1.5 at home against the Rams. Now, I know the Rams are playing a lot better. Last week, Thursday night win over the Vikings. They're playing much better. They got the receivers are back. Cooper Kupp is back. The kid Puaha, whatever you say his name, Puha, the other wide receivers back as well. Matthew Stafford's playing pretty well. I just think the Seahawks, and I know the defense has not been good. I understand that. I know they're a little banged up. I think DJ Metcalf's going to play this week. DK Metcalf, whatever it is. You know who I'm talking about. He's going to play this week for Seattle. I like Seattle. I think they snap out of it. And you're getting 1.5 in Seattle with the Seahawks. I'm taking a flyer on them, even though they haven't played well. Give me Seattle plus 1.5 at home against the Rams. And in this game, I was back and forth on how I was going to go with this game, but I'm taking the Colts on Sunday Night Football in Minnesota against the Vikings, getting 5.5. Minnesota's lost their last 2 after they started out 5-0. The Colts had a tough loss again last week to Houston. They've had 2 very tough losses to the Texans so far this year. But here's the kicker to this game. Joe Flacco will start instead of Anthony Richardson for the Colts. And I'm telling you right now, I think the Colts, if the Colts are going to make a run this year, they're going to do it with Joe Flacco. You saw what Flacco did last year for Cleveland. He led them into the playoffs. I like the Colts getting 5.5, basically because Flacco's starting at quarterback. So give me Indy plus 5.5 on Sunday night at Minnesota against the Vikings. So the Benigno picks again for week 9. Give me the Ravens laying 9 at home against Denver. Give me Buffalo laying 6 at home against Miami. Give me the Lions laying 3 on the road in Lambeau against the Packers. Give me the Seahawks getting 1.5 at home against the Rams. And give me the Colts on the road in Minnesota getting 5.5 on Sunday Night Football. The Joe Benigno Pro Football picks already week 9 in the NFL. All right, everybody, have a great week. Before I go, I want to give a shout out. I want to give a big thank you to a couple guys who I really don't like at all, and that's Joe Biden and Mark Cuban. We want to thank them for their contributions in the campaign here this week. So thank you for that. And everybody have a stellar week. Weekend. I guess it's the weekend. Check me out tomorrow. I'll be on from 10 to 1 on Saturday on WFAN, so you want to check me out for that. I am moving now to go play some golf today as it continues to be 70 degrees here in New Jersey. The weather is The weather over the last 2 months in New Jersey has been as good as I've ever seen it. The month of October has been one of the best weather months I can ever remember in this just wonderful state that I live in. So hopefully the weather continues. Everybody, I hope you had a great Halloween. Everybody have a stellar weekend. Again, check me out tomorrow from 10 to 1. Again, everybody, all the love. And, of course, God bless America because God knows we need it.